Wow, that was what a Daytona 500. Welcome to the NASCAR NK Post Race Show. And yeah, Denny Hamlin breaks a like 30, I don't know how long, like a 47 race winless streak or something, and wins the Daytona 500 for the second time in his career. Let me just readjust this. There we go. There we go. First time he won it back in 2016. And yeah, what a 500. Let's go over what happened. First off, stage one, we saw a lot of good side-by-side racing, which was kind of surprising, mainly because of what happened through the duels and the clash, and even through the Xfinity series. We saw a lot of just follow the leader through the top lane. This one was none of that. We saw maybe 1 or 2 laps of follow the leader. Matt DiBenedetto, what a drive for that man. He and Stenhouse took over majority of stage one. We weren't expected to see the Hendrick drivers of Bowman and Byron to be up front, but they stayed up there, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, DiBenedetto in the Toyota and Stenhouse in the Ford, they were kind of the class of that stage. Were near the front, were 1 and 2. Then the first hot caution came out when Corey LaJoie with that Old Spice car cut a right front tire, I believe it was, which brought out the first caution of the day. And then when the restart came out, the top 4 were all four drivers. It was Stenhouse, Harvick, Joe Logano, I believe, and Clint Boyer. But on lap 35, then the Toyota drivers of Hamlin and Kyle Busch broke that train on the outside lane, and they were able to create a two-lane race. And then we saw something that was very surprising. We saw the Toyota, that was a voice crack, Toyota and Chevy drivers actually team up. You can tell throughout the majority of the race, at least through stage 1, stage 2, they were teaming up on the Ford cam, which I felt like that's what you needed to do if you wanted to stop the Ford drivers from dominating the 500 or to stop from having a follow the leader race. It needed to take Toyota and Chevy to work together to kind of break the Ford domination, and that's what they did. Then with 11 laps to go, the second caution came out of the day when Kurt Busch tried to slide in front of Stenhouse Jr., but got turned by Stenhouse and collected Bubba Wallace, Jimmy McMurray, and I believe the 3 car Austin Dillon, but Dillon didn't hit anything. And then finally, to close out stage 1, Ryan Blaney and Joe Logano restarted the race, and they worked together to end stage 1, and Blaney won that stage. So overall, stage 1 was very entertaining, but still very mundane. 500. Stage 2 kind of picked up just a tad bit. Logano started stage 2 as the leader, and when Logano's the leader, he kind of dictates how the pace is run and caused a freight train, however, on the bottom of the racetrack instead of the top. However, that did not last long, as 14 laps into stage 2, we saw drivers come out to pit road to do their services, as the last time they went on pit road was around lap 60, or not lap 60, lap 40, I believe, of the first stage, so they needed to come on pit road. Then, as a result of that, Matt DiBenedetto inherited the race lead, and DiBenedetto led a lot of laps in this race. I think he led 40 or 50 laps of the race. He had a really, really good day today. Then with around 15 laps to go or so, the pack that did not pit, which included DiBenedetto and Kyle Busch, they actually caught up to the pack that just pitted. We had, I believe it was 10 drivers that hadn't pitted yet against 20 cars that pitted already. They caught up to him, and it caused a very interesting scene of DiBenedetto trying to lap the second pack. I forgot to say, I meant Kyle Busch won stage 1, not Ryan Blaney. I forgot to point it out. It was Kyle Busch and Hamlin. They worked together to win stage 1. Blaney would win stage 2 after a crash happened with 15 laps to go that involved Casey Mears. It was a 96 car Parker Kligerman. They crashed nearly in front of the 2 packs in turn number 1. Set up a restart, and Blaney and Logano worked together to win stage 2. I meant to say that for stage 2, while Joe Gibbs drivers Kyle Busch and Hamlin won stage 1. Busch winning that stage. Stage 3 is where, Stage 3 is where we saw things really start to heat up. We saw a lot more side-by-side action, a lot more 3-wide action. And kind of a surprise here, the Hendrick drivers dominated the first half of the stage, being Jimmy Johnson and William Byron. However, with 41 laps to go, we saw our first major incident that at least involved the drivers in contention. Coming to pit road with 4 more laps to go, teammates Cody Ware and BJ McLeod. Ware just flat out turned the 51 car BJ McLeod and collected Tyler Reddick, who then slammed into the back end of Jimmy Johnson. Ricky Stenhouse also collected, but Stenhouse didn't receive minor damage. Johnson received big time damage as the left rear of his car was completely gone, and the actual like fuel cell or line that holds the fuel was actually hanging out of the car. So he had major damage, but was still able to get a good finish at the end of the day. Then it was starting to get single file later on into the final, into like the final portions of the race with 18 laps to go. Kyle Larson cut a left rear tire and spun out in front of the field. Luckily, he didn't collect anyone else, but it was on that point where all hell started to break loose. 13 laps to go, I think 1 or 2 laps just after we came back to green, Brad Keselowski cuts the left rear tire right in front of Jimmy Johnson off of turn number 4, restarted, and then with 9 laps to go, the big one struck on the back straightaway. Paul Menard got into the back end of Matt DiBenedetto, who spun out right in front of the field. Showers, sparks, almost the whole field was involved in it. There's a look at Eric Almirola, just got completely demolished. Matt Tifft also suffered massive damage to his car. Then when we came back to restart with 5 laps to go, another crash happened on the back straightaway by who else other than Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Tried to make it 3 wide in a hole that was not there. Collected Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick, as well as other drivers. I believe Brad Keselowski was also involved in that wreck, which caused another caution to come out. Then when we got back to green with 2 laps to go, another crash happened on the back straightaway again. Boyer makes a nice move underneath, I believe it was the 34 car Michael McDowell, but didn't clear him. Got turned by Michael McDowell, spun in front of the field, collected William Byron, collected, I think it was Truex, I wasn't sure, but it collected a good number of cars, which I think collected down to, I think 10 or 11 cars left in the race. And then with 2 laps to go, the final restart of the race, Denny Hamlin got out in front with Joey Logano trying to get help from Ryan Preece and others, trying to swerve his way to the field. Got up to 2nd place, I believe it was, but Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin worked together, and at the end of the day, Kyle Busch came in 2nd, but your winner is now a 2-time champion, Denny Hamlin. Kind of fitting how this was the first race without J.D. Gibbs, who passed away in the offseason due to a neurological brain disease. Hamlin basically was J.D. Gibbs's person to drive the 11 car, which was J.D. Gibbs' number when he played football. So it was a very special tribute for Hamlin and that whole entire Joe Gibbs team. Let's take a look at the race results here. Denny Hamlin wins the race with Kyle Busch in 2nd, Eric Jones 3rd, Joe Logano 4th, Michael McDowell 5th. Ty Dillon, nice run for him, in 6th. Kyle Larson 7th. Ryan Preece, in his first ever NASCAR Cup Series start, comes home in 8th. Jimmy Johnson, who was at one point 2 laps down from that crash on pit road, rebounds to finish 9th. In fact, he is the highest running Hendrick driver. 10th, Ross Chastain, another underdog story. Great run for him. Alex Bowman 11th, Brad Keselowski 12th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 13th, Ryan Newman 14th, Parker Kligerman 15th, Austin Dillon 16th, Chase Elliott 17th, Corey LaJoie 19th, Corey LaJoie 18th, BJ McLeod 19th, and Clint Boyer in 20th. The other drivers were all involved, like notable drivers like William Byron finished 21st, the pole sitter, after he had a nice run. Kevin Harvick finished 26th. Matt DiBenedetto ended up finishing 28th after he had again a very strong run. Eric Almirola tried to get redemption, ended up finishing 32nd after he was involved in that crash with 9 laps to go. And yeah, wow. I was afraid of this 500, mainly because when we led up to the Great American Race, all we saw was just single file. Truck race was the only race that was actually entertaining to watch. But then, I don't know if it was because the track got slick or if it was because Toyota drivers and Chevy drivers actually teamed up, but this 500 was incredible. It was the best 500 I have seen in a long time. And I'm genuinely being serious. I'm not a fan of Hamlin, but regardless of the winner, that was an amazing Daytona 500. Even though with all the chaos that ensued, like in the final 20 laps or so, it was awesome, that 500. Every single stage, like you could tell, every stage had like a meaningful tone to it. Like it started to build up, you could feel it. Like it was mundane, but they're aggressive. Stage 2, a bit more mundane, but getting a lot more aggressive. And stage 3, you can tell things were starting to get very hectic later on to the race. So it was a great 500. Shout out to the drivers that actually made it entertaining, because Jim France said in the drivers meeting, that he encouraged the drivers to go below on the bottom lane, to work with Denny and Chase to try and make the race entertaining for the fans. So thank you to Jim France. Kind The 500 broadcast from Fox, I enjoyed the broadcast. A lot better than last year. Fox, you did a very good job covering the race. Bit too much commercials. That's really my only complaint, which is a bit too much commercials. Not as much as last year, but still overall great broadcast from Fox. And yeah, what a 500. I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. I'm genuinely being serious. There were some, I will say, it got ticked down a bit because of just the chaos. I see it was just wreck. That's why I give it a bit of I tick points off. Overall, this was a great 500. And I am very much looking forward to Atlanta. By the way, we'll have a pre-race show for Atlanta on Sunday morning around 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll also have a post-race show after the Atlanta race. So, yeah, tell me, what do you guys think of the Daytona 500? Do you guys like it? If so, if not, why? Just give me a reason on your 500 and why you think of that. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. But until next time, I'm Chris from NASCAR on MDK. And I'll see you guys in the next video.